What was I gonna look up? Uh, duh. I was gonna look something up, but I can't remember now. What I was gonna look up now. And oh, now I remember. Wasn't looking up anything really. Okay, that's a lovely thumbnail. Need to lose some weight, guys. Okay. Okay. Now, part of the process that I hate to do, the blade break. I don't know why, it's just a pain in the butt. Where's my shears? Where are my shears? No. Somewhere else. So I'm going to mark this. It's always a painful thing to do, to cut your blade in half. doing there. Stomach's making some crazy noises. I had a sandwich. Ah, don't tell me that just cut me. Yep, I did. Ah, damn it. I just sliced my thumb open. I will be right back. Well, that was fun. It went right through my glove. Yep, that's the one. I suppose I don't need to wear my gloves right now. I really only wear the gloves to keep the oils off of them for when I'm creating the coloring, well, I'm done with that. So I suppose. However, I probably should just keep it covered. Yeah, I'll get a new one. Yeah, basically cut my cuticle in half at the base of the thumbnail, and it kind of traveled down almost to the first knuckle. I mean, it's not terribly deep, but yeah, when I squeezed it, just, you know, a lot of decent amount of blood just kind of came out of it, and I'm like, okay, time to go clean it up. So I just wash it off, and antibacterial soap, put some Neosporin on it, slapped a couple Band-Aids on it, and we're back to work. Alrighty. Yeah, thankfully though, it's not right on the joint, you know, so like when I move my thumb, it's not gonna pull on it or anything. So it's not bad, but just, you know, I just looked at where it was bleeding, and yeah, it just kind of caught the base of my fingernail, sliced through the cuticle, and then down towards the knuckle. Didn't quite reach the knuckle, but you know, it's not in a spot that's going to be getting bent a lot. That's the worst, is when it's like either in the webbing or right on a joint, something that's going to be really moving a lot. But think it's on a flat spot on my thumb, so it'll be fine. Anyway, on that note, back to work. Little blood won't stop me. Especially when I have a mortgage to pay. All right. And this is just for the blade break. I hate the blade break. Like, I like the detail, but I just hate making it. So, gotta get this to hold still. Actually, I'm going to flip this over. That should do it. There we go. All right. And who messaged me? Okay. did you move? You're not supposed to move. Let's see. No, that's not right. All right, this is kind of getting hairy here. Why is this being weird? There. I'll make that work. I normally don't have this much trouble doing a blade break. Alrighty. Now, come on. I think we're gonna need more than that. Oh, come on. No, it's still in the pliers. Interesting. All right. You ever had anyone send you gloves? What do you mean? Can you clarify that for me? In what sense? No. I mean, I've had people say they're going to, but they've never done it. I usually ask them not to. Um, I don't know. Just, I mean, it's nice. It's a nice gesture and all, but it's like I don't really collect gloves myself. I need more paper towels. Um, no, I've had several people say, "Hey, I'm gonna build you a glove and send it to you," um, but they've never actually done it. Probably because I've discouraged them from doing it. I just ask them not to. It's like, dude, don't. I know how to make them. You don't need to send me one. And it's like, just dedicate that time and resource and sell it to a customer. You know, bring in some money for yourself. Don't waste your time and materials on me. But I appreciate the gesture. It's always kind. All right, where is my other? Where's my other cutting wheel? There it is. Oops. Now, let me just double check the length. Nice. Okay, so there's that. One thing I'm not going to be live streaming is my back plates because I don't want to show how I do those. It took me a long time to figure out how to do the back plates that I make, and it's generally something I don't show. So. Nice. You're welcome. Yeah, they are pretty challenging. Um, you know, I mean, heck, I still have challenges. I still have things that don't necessarily pan out right, and have to redo things or swear a few times and start over on something. But um, aside from that, it's but they are still a lot of work, especially now that I'm 44 years old. You know, I started this when I was 27. I'm crying out loud, I'm going on almost 18 years. I don't have the stamina that I used to. I don't have the energy, and middle age has crept up on me, and life just takes it away as you get older. Stupid human bodies. Anyway, um, yeah. I mean, if I could retire from glove building, I would. Just because, the passion for it isn't there like it used to be. I mean, I still love to do it and see people's reactions and things like that, but right now I'm only dependent on it for money, which I don't like because I used to have a roommate, and roommate moved out, and so I have to make up for that shortfall in my budget. And me being stupid, I kind of, financed some things supposing that that money was going to be there. And when he moved out and that money disappeared, I had to replace it with this. Instead of this being, additional, gravy money, it's now essential money. And I don't like that because it kind of takes the fun and comfort out of it. Because instead of feeling like I'm building just casually, just to earn some extra play money and whatnot, I'm actually, doing this to pay for my car or pay for my mortgage. I've already made my car payment, so now this is for my mortgage. I have yet to pay my July mortgage. So let's get to work, right? Okay. All right. We are moving on to kind of the final stages of fingers. So now it's adding little details to the pieces, like the little solder spills, then the ringlets, the extra holes, that kind of a thing. But, you know, I am thankful for this stuff, you know, because it is something that, you know, I've been doing it long enough to I'm to the point where, you know, I don't have to advertise. Customers come to me. You know, I haven't been adding any names to my list lately. Just, I mean, I've been turning people away. I'm like, sorry, I'm just not adding any names, just because I have enough names to keep me busy for a long time, unfortunately. And oh, that is fortunately, but not for new customers. And so, yeah, you got to be careful. Not touch. In fact, I'm going to take this glove off. Okay, I'm starting to feel the pain from that. What templates are you using? Did you make your own, or did you find some online, or what's the deal on your template situation? Where are no? Where's my solder? And I need this. In fact, I'm going to take this. I think my eyes are starting to go. It's like I can't get as close as I used to. Gonna need reading glasses here soon. Yay! Pliers. Where are my pliers? I always forget that I hang things back up sometimes. You can find templates online. Um, I mean, all of my templates are done digitally. I mean, I've got digital drawings of my templates. Most templates you'll find online are um, kind of tracings, you know, that have been scanned, that kind of a thing. Um, you know, but since I mean, most depends on the kind of what glove you're making. Hold on, let me look. Freddy glove templates. Just trying to see if there's, I think those are part 4. Those look like drawings. Yeah, what I would recommend, um, if you can, um, I'm just trying to think what I would suggest. Like, let's say you downloaded a set of templates and it's got the holes marked on it. What you could possibly do is take it in, I mean, I purchased software to make digital drawings and things like that, but um, I don't know how savvy you are with, like, you know, image overlays and things like that, but you just have to basically line up the holes on the fingertip and the lower stall on the drawing, like overlap them, and make the fingertip, or whichever image is on top, make it transparent so you can still see, make sure that the holes are lined up, and then you have to make a little pinpoint right in the center of that hole. And then when you print out your templates, I would suggest getting one of these. It's like a little impact puncher. I don't know what they call them, but it's like a sheet metal little puncher. But it doesn't punch a hole, it's just got a sharp point on it. And so when you're tracing your template on the metal, you put the point of this right on that pinpoint on the hole, and you press it down, and there's a little driver inside of this, and it's like a little mini hammer on the inside of this thing, and it's gonna hit this thing, and it's gonna create a little pinpoint indentation right in the center of where the hole is. And then you need, I don't know if you have one of these, you need one of these hole punchers, sheet metal hole puncher, because the die has a little, well, not just the die, but the actual punching mechanism has a little pinpoint in it. And you have to basically put the point on that into the little point indentation that you made in the metal, and that'll, kind of lock the piece in. It's hard to explain, but when you punch the hole, but yeah, I mean, I don't know how else to explain it. But yeah, if you're having problems with hole alignment, you just have to make sure that your templates, I mean, the only advice I really have is digital templates are the best. And especially if you have the original digital drawings, which I think there might be one or two people in the world that have, unless they've been distributed behind the scenes, but they have my digital drawings, and anyway, so if you can find a way to digitize your templates that way, when you print out your templates and just cut them out, then just make sure that you're accurately marking the center. That's why I put a little pinpoint on the template itself. So here, I'm kind of far away from my camera right now. I'm kind of blocked, but here, let me get up a little closer. I'm stepping on my finger piece. So I don't know if you can see this, but I have a little circle, which is where the hole is, but then right in the center of that circle is a little pinpoint, and that little hole that's in the template there is from me. Like, when this is sitting on the sheet metal, I use this and I just place that point right on that pinpoint on the template, so when I press down, it creates that little hole in the template. So when I'm retracing this, I just very lightly use a marker and just put a little dot right in the center of that hole that's in the template now to mark it on the sheet metal or the piece of metal you're cutting. And, you know, but again, I don't know if that's helping. So. Okay. But yeah, I would say the biggest help is digitize your templates. If you can find a way to do that, that is what I would recommend. Because having digital templates instead of just hand-drawn ones is by far the way to go. Because then it's very easy to, you know, if you have the actual digital drawings, you know, and they're just line drawings, then when you're in your software, you can put your, you know, the lower stall, then the upper fingertip, and then, you know, when you put them together, you just got to make sure that those two holes are overlapping, and so anyway, it's hard to explain. I mean, I'm picturing it in my head just because I've been using digital templates for what, 17 years? I think I used hand-drawn templates for less than a year when I started, and then I just went straight to digital and just designed everything digitally, and that's how I've been doing it ever since. So, where did I put my phone? Is it under here? Yeah, there it is. So, what is this? No, they're Freddy Krueger gloves. You know, they're just gloves with knives on them. So, see, are they overlapping in the digital templates when shaped or flat? They're flat. Yeah, so my digital drawings are all flat. And so, I mean, I'd show them to you, but I'd have to kill you. No, but let me see, do I have something? Let me see if I've got something here. Okay, so I guess here's an example of one of my templates here. So this is how they kind of look in the software. So this is a lower stall, this is a fingertip. So they're just flat pieces. And so basically in the software, I just take this fingertip outline and then I just lower it down over the top, and then I just make sure that the holes are lined up. And but yeah, so when you print them out, and so I don't know if you can see, but like, again, I don't know if that's here. Let me turn this off. I don't know if this is going to help. Maybe that made it worse, but I don't know. I'm looking at a really tiny image of my video feed, so I can't see if it's clear. But yeah, all my templates are flat, and then I mean, obviously the holes on the fingertip have to be slightly closer together than they are on the lower stall, because if you have to make some room for that fingertip inside the lower stall, and so the hole placement on the fingertips have to be more closer together than they are on the lower stalls. So just make sure that they're like not. So let me give you an example. This isn't the right measurement, but let's say that if you're looking at your flat template and the distance between the two holes is 1.5 inches. Make sure that the holes on the fingertip are not 1.5 inches. I mean, they have to be slightly closer together, like 1 inch and, I don't know, 5 or 1 inch and 3/8 or something like that. Just slightly closer together. So when they are shaped and put together, that allows the fingertip to fit into the lower stall and the holes should line up. But again, it comes down to your precision in punching them out. I don't know if you're probably punching them out, I think you said. But it just depends on how accurate you are. And yes, yeah, the overlap. And so, but that's probably my biggest recommendation, is if you're gonna use templates, try to find a way to digitize them and actually trace them. If you can have original, like your own tracings, the actual line drawing, not just a copy of a tracing. You actually have the line drawing that you can manipulate yourself. And if you want to make something more curved, you can adjust that. Or if you want to move the hole, you can adjust that. And so yeah, the dogs are barking about something. Okay, what am I doing next? The solder spill on the middle fingertip. Lexi, stop. That didn't work. I just dropped it. doing? I need this, not the glove. Goodness. Don't make a mirror image. The templates are not symmetrical. Um, and the holes, if they are actual copies of my templates, um, the holes are not exactly like perfectly across from each other. I mean, if you're going for just basic templates, then you can, yeah, you can possibly do a mirror image, but um, yeah, the templates are not um, like the distance. Like if you take the bottom hole where the flat is that attaches to the back plate, the distance to the hole to the top left is not always identical to the hole to the top right. Because like one might be out farther, because the templates, I don't know if you're using my template glove templates that are floating around out there, but they're not going to be symmetrical. And I mean, if you make them symmetrical, then yeah, there's that. But yeah, shoot me a picture of them, and I'll see what you're talking about, or see what you're working with. Let's see now what. Okay, now I got to do the ring finger spills. Right, this is not wanting to draw. Here's my other marker. away. I'm not going to use that ever again. Why do I keep getting added to these spam group chats? It's always like, single women, blah 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 blah. It's like, all right. There's that. All right, ringlets. Is it time to do ringlets? I think it might be. Loving the ringlet just boink, pops right out. gonna change the wheel on this. This makes too fine of a texture. I need something more coarse. That feels better. Finally has some teeth. Too angled, so make sure to turn it back a little bit. Yeah. Okay. One. I'll take a look. Let me see. Yeah, those do appear to be my templates. Okay. Oh, you shrank them? Okay. Now, it looks like you mirrored the, um, let's see, did you mirror all of them? Did you mirror the fingertips as well? Doesn't look like you mirrored all of them, unless it's just the angle. Might just be the angle. Yeah. Okay. So mirrored. Now, did you mirror the same side? Like, for example, if you um, take the left side of every single finger, including the fingertip, and then just mirror it to the other side. Um, just make sure that, because obviously if you mirror the right side of a fingertip, um, that may offset the holes. But also you have to, um, well, I guess you don't have to fiddle with the hole at the bottom. Um, quick question: what was the purpose of mirroring them? That's pretty cool how you put the text. So did you, like, for example, um, let's say on the index finger, let's say on the lower stall, you mirrored the left side to the right side. You also have to mirror the the left side of the fingertip to the right side. You can't mirror the right side to the left side, because that's gonna make the holes, because the hole on the right side is meant for the hole on the right side as it's drawn. But if you're putting the left side on the right side, you have to make sure that the you do the same to the fingertip. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, the pieces are not symmetrical on the original glove. Like when I studied the original glove in person, and I was looking at it and examining it, um, that it really struck me as to how asymmetrical it really is. And my first gloves, excuse me, my first gloves were pretty much all symmetrical, because I wasn't striving for such accuracy. But with these template gloves, I mean, even my cheaper gloves, they're not symmetrical. And so, um, but yeah, for simplicity's sake, you can make them symmetrical, but you just have to make sure that if you're going to mirror the lower stall, you have to mirror the fingertip, and make sure you're mirroring the same side as the side that you mirrored on the lower stall. Because like I said, the holes are lined up for the specific hole. Like the relationship between the fingertip and the lower stall, the hole placement is where it's supposed to be. But if you're altering the lower stall, but then not altering the fingertip, or you're altering the other side of the fingertip, it's going to throw everything out of alignment, because you're moving the hole of the lower stall. So let's say you take the index finger lower stall, the T shape. Okay, you get rid of the whole right hand side and you just copy the left side and put it over on the right hand side. Well, that's basically going to make the hole on the right hand side different than where it originally was. And so now that has made the hole placement in relationship to the fingertip off. So if you're going to mirror the lower stall, you have to mirror the upper fingertip, or you just have to reposition the hole on the upper fingertip. But that may also cause a problem because, like I said, the pieces are not symmetrical, and oh gosh, it's hard to explain, but it also may mess with how they fit together, because I haven't had to explain anything like this before, so it's I'm having trouble finding the words to how to explain it, but yeah, all I can say really is, if you're mirroring the lower stalls, you have to, if you mirror the left side to the right side, or vice versa, or from the right side to the left side, make sure to do the same thing for the fingertip. You have to mirror the same side as you do the lower stall. So, but yeah, but you are probably going to have to reposition the holes. If that's not what you did. So that's probably the issue, I would imagine, that you're having. So, yeah. Because you're taking an asymmetrical thing and trying to make it symmetrical. But you have to be consistent with mirroring the images. Because the hole placement as they are drawn is where they're supposed to be when they're asymmetrical. If you're turning them into symmetrical pieces, then it's going to involve repositioning the holes. So, yeah, I'm still kind of just in shock about Brian. Just thinking about him, just kind of, I can feel the emotion, like, kind of welling up. I mean, just talking about him like it is now. Anyway. Yeah, it freaking hurts, man. And that's just me, as a long distance friend. I can't imagine what his family's going through right now. My heart just breaks for him. Thanks, Adam, for bringing it up. I'm kidding. It's fine that you brought it up. Brian was a fantastic guy. And anyway, it hurts. Yeah. Yeah, I found out about 8 o'clock, give or take, somewhere around there. I I could be wrong about the time, but yeah, it was stuff. It was Tuesday evening. I know that. Probably around 8 o'clock, I would guesstimate. When I first saw the post from his daughter, Chloe, just saying, "Hey, if you know my father, call me. Here's my number." I thought it was like my Facebook page got hacked type of thing. I mean, because I Googled the phone number and it actually came back saying it looks like this phone number is affiliated with a scam. And so I thought, oh, I'm like, it's just his Facebook page is hacked. So then the post disappeared maybe like 10 minutes later or something like that. And I thought, okay, well, Brian saw it, and he took it down. That's legit what I thought. Okay. And, well, you go to bed early. Really early. Um, Now I was up and I was just playing video games, and I saw Chloe's post on Brian's page, and I thought, shoot, his page got hacked. That's what I thought. And then the post disappeared, and then I think I saw his cousin make a post saying, like farewell, Brian, or something, whatever her post said. But that's when I realized, I'm like, oh no. And I lost it. I immediately started crying. Because I had just gone to a funeral that morning for a long time family friend. And so my emotions were already just subsurface. They were just right there on the edge the whole day as it was. And then to get that dose of news on top of it, just, in addition to all the other deaths I've experienced in the last month and a half. Because there was another death that I didn't even mention in my posts, so this longtime family friend who passed, his son was my best friend growing up, and his wife. I know this is a hard family tree. Anyway, his wife lost her father, who I knew as well, just in May. So we lost her father, or my friend's father-in-law, in May. And then in June 13th, I think, is when I lost my wife's, not I, but we lost my wife's aunt, Gay Passy. And then that same Saturday, I put my cat down. Then had her funeral. And then on July 1st, lost my friend, whose father-in-law died in May, lost his father on July 1st. And then I got word on July 1st, later that day, that my wife's stepmother passed away. And none of these deaths were honestly shocking, because they were all old, and especially my wife's stepmother. She was already in hospice care, so we knew that it was a matter of time. I didn't expect it that soon, but but it's still, and her funeral's on Friday. Um, so then I went to my friend's father's funeral on Tuesday, and later that day, got the news about Brian. That was a sucky day, man. So my work gave me 3 days of bereavement leave because of my wife's stepmother, and I wasn't going to take any time off, but once Brian got thrown into the works, um, I'm like, I'm taking the leave. I can't focus on work right now. It's just too much to swallow all at once. And I mean, not to minimize the deaths of any of the others, but Brian's death is hitting me the hardest, simply because he was so young. Um, like I said, all the others were upper 70s to mid 80s, so they were older. They had lived full lives, but Brian was just taken far too soon, and that was just shocking. The day it happened, I just kept saying to myself, I'm like, Brian Sills is dead. And I couldn't believe it. It just didn't sound real to me. And I just kept shaking my head, just like, I can't believe I'm saying that. Because he's one of the staples in our community. Yeah. Yeah. It's like even if you start getting yourself back into shape, I mean, I need to get back into shape. I mean, I've let myself go. I've gained a lot of weight over the last several years, especially since the beginning of COVID, because I was going to the gym regularly before COVID, and I hit like, I think almost 200 pounds. I'm over 260 now. I put on 60 pounds in the last 5 years. And that, ugh, freaking hate it. Um, and so, anyway, but yeah, I've been watching him get back in shape, and you know, I don't know what ultimately was the cause of death. I don't know if he had a heart attack or a stroke or an aneurysm. I don't know. Um, Whatever it was, it happened quickly and suddenly. But somebody messaged me and said that he was actually talking to Brian just earlier that day, and Brian said he wasn't feeling very well. Um, I guess the heat. I guess he got a new job or something like that, and the heat had been really getting to him. But again, I don't really know what the cause of death was. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm starting to go back to the gym. I'm thinking about it more. So I'm trying to be more conscientious about what I'm eating. Um, you know, and I'm trying to go back to the gym more often. Um, I like to swim. I like to go to the gym and swim because I've been starting to have some issues with my right knee, especially just going upstairs. Getting older is fun, but swimming is just low impact, but it's just constant resistance training. It's cardio, it's resistance, and it's fun. It's fun to just go for a dip. So, um, he had a cardiac event. Okay, so sounded like a heart attack. Did Brian smoke? I don't know if he was a smoker. I can't recall if he did or didn't. Um, So unfortunately, if you have like, let's say, um, what is it? Just the hardening of the arteries in your heart. Um, it's like even just working out, it's not going to clear that up. You know, Getting back into shape. Did he smoke a lot? Okay, I couldn't recall. For some reason, I can't recall him smoking because when I hung out with him in at Monster Palooza, I can't recall him smoking. So anyway, but yeah, that's obviously going to be a health factor. You know, I'm not assigning blame or anything like that, but obviously smoking it can very easily exacerbate issues. And, it's possible that he had, calcified arteries in his heart. And no matter what shape you're in, you could be fit as a fiddle, but if you have hardened arteries in your heart or narrowed arteries in your heart, um, getting back into shape doesn't fix that. You have to have stents put in, to open those back up and things like that. So I don't know what his medical history is, obviously. It's none of my business, to be honest. But if it was a cardiac event, you know, but it is unfortunate that, when he started trying to take care of himself again, get back into better shape and stuff like that, this happens, you know. That's a scary thought, though. It's a scary thought to think that your own body can just take itself out like that. I don't know if, because I guess one thing, I have to be mindful of, because I went in and I had a heart scan, a calcium test where they actually check for calcium deposits in your heart. And I scored very minimally. I guess there was just very minuscule amount of calcification in my descending artery. I forget what it is, but it's basically the widowmaker artery. If that gets blocked, that's the widowmaker heart attack. So that was where some calcification was found, but they said it's extremely minimal, and my risk was very like nothing. But I have to be mindful of that, and I don't know. Again, I don't know what happened exactly with Brian, but unfortunately, yeah, still sucks though. He was a good dude. He was like when I did conventions, he was one of the big three. It was me, Robbie, and Brian. It was us three that were there together. I know Robbie and Brian were closer than me and Brian were. I mean, I just looked at my conversations with Brian. And I hadn't spoken with him since September. We just like never really had any reason to communicate. I mean, there were moments. I mean, like I said, I've been in the community for 18 years, um, and there have been moments where he and I talked a lot, and but the last conversation we had was he was asking me for some assistance on reference material for part four, and he was trying to make some alterations to his templates, and he says, "Hey, do you have any advice as to how this should be shaped and stuff like that?" And since I've got hundreds of pictures of the part four hero, I sent a few to him, um, and excuse me, helped him fix whatever he was working on, and then we started just shooting the breeze, just chit chatting. He's like, "How's the wife?" I asked how's his family, and all that, just the usual mumbo jumbo, and that was the last time we spoke. But that was September of last year, so. Um, 100% blocked coronary artery. Maybe it was. I don't know if that was the widowmaker. It's the descending a descending artery on the heart. I guess that's known as the widowmaker. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm 44, and I'm not in the greatest of shape. I've eaten poorly throughout my life, not entirely throughout my life. I've gone through ups and downs. Um, but it's something that I should be mindful of, and I might ask my primary care physician, just like, hey, can I get a referral to go see a cardiologist, just to as precaution, you know. They called it the Widowmaker. Yep. Yeah, that's what it is. Um, yeah, that one, that's a dangerous one. And so, but yeah, if you have calcification of your arteries, no amount of exercise is going to clear that up. You have to have stents put in and um, get those opened back up. And so, sucks, man. It really does. Anyway, he's going to be missed badly. Oh, I get it. Believe me. How old are you, Adam? Did you say before? I don't know if you said how old you are, but uh, let's see here. I'm going to use this. You're 46? Okay. So yeah, you're just two years older than I am. Oh, you're fine. No, that's heck. I mean, I'm totally fine with that because Brian deserves to be talked about. You know, and so I mean that's what I posted on my Facebook page. I said, it's like I'm going to do some live streaming this week. He said, come join me and let's talk about Brian, man. Forgot what I was doing. Oh yeah. It's just I'm just upset that well, I'm not just upset that it's I'm upset that I only got to meet him once and hang out with him once. Just over a weekend. I'm glad I got to, but the fact that that's the only time I'll ever get to, it's upsetting. Life is not fair. You don't need to be sorry. I mean, honestly, we were probably done with that subject. 'Cause it really wasn't. I mean, I was beating it like a dead horse. So, yeah. Yeah, I met him in 2017 when I went to my first Monster Palooza. I don't think he was there for the second one. Because I went again in 2019. It was just me and Robbie, I believe. But yeah, Brian was there for the first one in 2017. You know, he's such a good dude. I went back to my pictures, and I only have one picture of him. Kind of got angry with myself that I just took pictures of the art at the convention. I didn't take hardly any pictures of us. It's like now you look back on it, and it's like that's the most important thing because, yeah, those other things are just things. You know, the people in front of you are what's most important. But your brain, you know, makes you think that, oh, they're always going to be there. Wrong. That was intense. That's why I went and visited my parents yesterday. Because it had been a little while, been about 2 or 3 weeks. No, 2 weeks. Um, since I had last seen them. At least my mom. Saw my dad at the funeral on Tuesday. Um, but I hadn't seen my mom, and they're both, pushing mid 80s, so I don't know how much time they have left. But I just thought I better go see them before I have that regret of saying, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Sometimes you don't get it tomorrow. So I know you have the cliche thing of, live every day as if it were your last. It's like, it's hard to do that, because if you literally knew that it was your last day, you'd do everything with a sense of urgency. And everything would carry so much weight and importance. But we always think we're going to get tomorrow to try it again. And it's not always the case because, heck, I mean, I could, after ending this live stream, I could just walk upstairs and keel over dead. Never know. We just never know when our number gets called. So, anyway. But, we at least get the opportunity to experience life. So if you look at the vastness of the universe, how small and insignificant we are comparatively, yet here we are. It's like we get to experience consciousness, we get to experience happiness, we get to experience sadness and pain and disappointment and pleasure and joy. All those emotions, we get to experience them. And so, anyway. Because, hey, things could be different. we could be, we're the lucky ones. We're the ones who get to experience it. That is very true. Especially when you're at work. The days feel like they take forever, but the years, especially as you get older, the years just fly by. It's like I remember the beginning of the pandemic, and it's like, and to think, oh my gosh, that's 5.5 years ago. It's like, where did the time go? I don't know why I keep bringing up the pandemic. I think it's just because, it's something we all can, it's like a specific moment in time that we can all point to and just remember. It's kind of like referring to 9/11, it's like just these markers in our history that you can, it's like if I talked about, the time I went to Disney World in Orlando, Florida. I honestly can't remember what year that was. Um, it just kind of blends into the history of my life. But major events in world history, they're easier to mark and easier to remember. I hope so. I hope there's more to our existence than just this. I mean, I used to be religious. I've since kind of set that aside for personal reasons. I always just say it's an issue between me and the big guy upstairs. So, um, but yeah, I mean, I hope there's more meaning to life than just it being happenstance. Because I've got some questions. I had this exact conversation with my parents when I was over there. I was like, because my dad was saying he hopes there is nothing beyond this life, which was weird to hear him say. Um, 'Cause he's like, I'm going to be bored. I'm like, believe me, if there is more to this life or this existence than just what we see here and now, we're not going to be bored. If there's a purpose to it all, boredom is not going to be an issue. I'm certain of that. Anyway, um, what was I getting at? Um, oh, me having questions. It's like, I was just thinking about, I mean, the age-old question. It's like, how did everything start? Whether you're religious or not religious, if you believe in a creator or not, no matter what the answer is downright amazing. Because, okay, if you think about, okay, let's say there is no creator. There's no purpose to any of this. It's all happenstance. Let's assume that that's legitimately the answer. And it just all there's no point to it all. It just happened. Um, how did it happen? This, like, they say, oh, there was the Big Bang, and it's like, okay, well, how did the circumstances for the Big Bang to happen, how did those come about? And It's like, okay, well, if all the matter that exists in the universe today was contained in this little speck that essentially detonated into an ever expanding universe, um, what space did that thing inhabit prior to detonation? It's like, okay, if that thing exploded into space and created space as we know it, what space did that inhabit prior? So that means, and if space is expanding, or if the universe is expanding, what the heck is it expanding into? Like, so if it's expanding, that means there's a border, there's an edge to it. What's beyond that edge? No matter what the answer is, it's just mind blowing. And then, if there is a creator to all of this, and there was intelligent design, and everything has a purpose, I mean, our mortal little feeble minds can't possibly comprehend the things of the eternities, but if there is more to it, I look forward to learning about those things and understanding those things. And so, anyway, but all we know is the here and now, and can only speculate. I have little hairs of my wife's head just sticking out of my sleeves. Yeah. It's fascinating stuff, It's like we can't possibly comprehend. And the sheer vastness, how big that space is. It's oh, it's almost terrifying if you think about it, how big that is. It's like my brain can't comprehend something that large. And the fact that it actually exists, like it literally exists. But I can't comprehend that. It's like I think my brain is like, I want to picture it. It's too big to picture. It's too big to understand. And that's scary to think about. Scary to think about something that's too big to comprehend. It's like something that's too big to comprehend should not exist. Yet it does. And we're in it. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll take a look at them. Let's see here. A little more. Let's make that just a little bit smaller. It's better. Okay. Wrist keeps popping. You too, Adam. Sorry you have to get up so early, but hey, stay busy, man. live life, enjoy it. You know, wake up, have a good day tomorrow. Thanks for the conversation, man. My wrist keeps popping. Doesn't hurt, it's just makes a noise. Yeah, I don't blame you. Go get that cheddar, man. I pretty much never get offered overtime. So, I'm not saying never, but you know, it's almost never. As far as the rivets on the original glove, um, I am not certain as to what type of rivets those are. Because remember, this glove was built back in 1984. Um, and so it's possible that the kind of rivets that they used are different now, or maybe not even made. Um, they do look like tubular rivets. I know, I'm trying to remember, I know Jim Doyle, when he was um, examining the original glove and authenticating it, he called them hammer rivets, you know, but I don't know if that's a legit term, but um, but but they do look like just a tubular rivet that's been smashed. But tubular rivets nowadays are typically made of like steel. They're used or some really super hard, and they're usually really thick. And um, but it doesn't look. I don't know. I really don't know what type of rivets they are. I mean, I just use double cap rivets and rapid rivets and things like that. Just um, and so I really am not certain. I mean, I've spent many hours examining it and trying to figure that out, and I don't know. I don't know what kind they are. Hmm. Like, I do know that the rivets on the index finger, like the the rivets that hold the tip to the stall, those are just a standard double cap rivet. But as far as the other ones, it's hard to say what those are because they look like tubular rivets, but it's been like crimped. It's been pressed together. Um, and I don't know if that would be. I mean, I don't know how difficult that would be um, to do with a modern tubular rivet. I really don't know. I wish I did, but oh well. Let's see here. So I've got all four fingers got lower ringlets on them. So I've done that. So basically, that's the first fingertip, right? Okay, that's the pinky. This is the index finger, and now ring finger is right here. Okay, all right. Hello. What's up? Okay. Just been eating and watching. No, no, no. It's like a stalker just hanging out in their car, just watching. Creepy. I wish I were just eating and watching. I'm tired. been doing this most of the afternoon. I think I started around 1 o'clock or so. Took a small break for lunch. Yeah, some food. Okay. Set that there. All right. Let's see. So you sent me something else. Let's see. Metal clay findings. I mean, I suppose, those rivets, it's possible. Um, but the thing is, I don't know. There's just no markings on the cap of the rivets. Um, and so if it is like just a tubular rivet, it's like, how did they crimp it? How did they press it together? Um, because it doesn't look like it was done cleanly, because it does look like it's just kind of smashed. Um, and it doesn't look like it was done with a tool that made it look, all neat and tidy and stuff like that. But there's no markings on the outer caps. And so, I mean, I really don't know. Um, oh, you don't need to worry about like those templates getting taken down, because my templates, they were stolen years ago and distributed, so ever since then I'm like, whatever, if people want to use them, they can use them. And so yeah. I mean, there was a time where I was trying to regulate, I'm trying to keep them exclusive, and it was tiring, Um, but ever since then, I'm just like, I care, but I don't care. It's like, do I wish I still had the exclusivity of them? Yeah, but the cat's out of the bag. there's no way to put that toothpaste back in the tube. So, because they're not just there. You can find them in many different places, even for free. So, so it is what it is. But excuse me. All right, pinky ringlet. Let's do that one. I'm still amazed at how skinny the pinky finger is on the original glove. It's like, man, Robert had some small hands. Especially that pinky finger. That pinky finger is skinny. Of course, my hands are probably larger than Robert's were, and so a template glove is tight on my hand. So, oh well. I mean, it still fits, but my own replicas, my cheaper gloves that I've taken more creative liberty on, those fit me better than a template glove do. Because that's why I took the creative liberties to be able to make them more comfortable for a wider variety of customers. But if you want to get a template glove and you have larger hands, either A, it's not going to fit, or B, you're going to have to tolerate a tight fitting glove that's not entirely comfortable to wear. But if you're going to spend $1,000 on a glove, man, honestly, in my opinion, I would hope that that's a display piece. I wouldn't want to spend $1,000 on a glove and have it be like visually changed through use. It's like, no, I wouldn't want to do that. Let's see. So every now and then I've got to reference my source material. Where did I put my phone? No, I put it on the floor. All right. Let's see. I'm pulling up my reference pictures to see exactly where the ringlet was placed on the original glove. That's about right. Yeah, that's about right. Okay. And there it shall stay. Let me do this. Yeah, I'll take a look at it. Nice and clean. Nice. Let me see. Was it the thing about the rivet crimper or something like that? Or was it a different one that you sent me? Let's see. Oh, yeah. Let's see here. Rivet piercing rivet setting tool. See, the thing that's going to be tricky is, see, these tools work the best with just flat objects, you know, like, but since if you're going to rivet pieces together, if you're going to use that to rivet pieces together, remember, it's got to be able to fit inside the piece, you know, so if you've got, you know, your index, let's say your finger piece here, you got to make sure that there's enough space to fit on the inside of the piece, and then you've got to have enough clearance. You know, it's, yeah. All I can say is give it a try, but don't be surprised if it doesn't work. I'm not saying it won't. I'm just saying, that's been my experience where I've tried, like, oh, maybe I'll try this tool or something like that, and then I find out, oh, well, great, now that doesn't work. It's like I can't fit it into this space, you know, in order to set the rivet. So anyway. Yeah, trust me, I've been through my fair share. I've never tried that particular device before, so I can't speak to it. But I'm just saying that my experience has been where I've ordered something or I spent money on something and it just didn't pan out, and it's like, I mean, heck, I'm looking at like $1,000 worth of material, like things that I've purchased. I mean, I have them in a box right here. Over $1,000 of expense that that just didn't turn into anything. It was $1,000 wasted, probably around $1,100 or $1,200, just wasted material, wasted money that I'm not going to get any use out of it. Could I? Possibly, but not for what I want. And so I'm purposely being vague. But yeah, you know, like I said, I've been through my own fair share of trying to find more convenient ways to do things, and I always find myself going back to the rudimentary things. It's like, well, I guess I'm going to have to keep doing it manually. Yeah, let me know how it goes. Give it a try. You know, maybe you'll find something. Maybe you'll find something that it's like, oh wow, hey, that actually works. Because unless you try, you'll never know. You know, because there's things that I use now that I didn't know about. I just tried it and it happened to work out. You know, if you don't try, you won't discover new ways of doing things. So. Yeah. Yep. It's for the fans. All right, what am I doing next? Index finger. Okay, so this is the weird ringlet. This is all I've got left of this piece. I'm gonna have to trim it. No, I'll trim it later. Let's see. Okay, so that. Comes down. And this more curved. So approximately about right there. And when I was thanking Robert for agreeing to use my glove, you know, he's just like, you know, you just made it better for the fans. So just remember that it's for the fans. I'm like, okay. I was just happy for you to use my glove. I wasn't thinking about the fans. I was just wanting you to wear one of my gloves. Not gonna lie, it was a selfish endeavor. I gotta take a break here soon for dinner and feed the dog. And, you know, it's my usual evening routine. Can't neglect everything that I normally do. Looks good. Ouch. Accidentally touched the end of the solder wire. That was hot. Shut up, Aaron. And teach my competition? No. Maybe if I were retiring. Oh. Burn my finger. All right. Believe me, I've had many ask me, "Will you teach me?" So I know there's a market out there for it, but nah. I don't know how much you would charge for that kind of a thing. Because how would I host the class if it's online? Someone's going to record it. So it's really only just going to be like a one and done type thing. Dun, 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 dun. Is it overcast outside? Did I just hear like some thunder? All right. It's actually the only glove I still own. I don't have any other gloves. Slight correction, it never sold. The auction was not a success. It did not sell. But yes, that is my leather with the original glove today. That was commissioned by the current owner of the glove. He reached out to me. Yeah. No, because I met Kurt. The owner's name is Kurt. Um, I think it was, I want to say it was 2019. I can't remember if it was the first or the second trip, but Kurt came to Monster Palooza and he was like, "Hey, I'm the owner of the original glove." And here I thought he was just BS, like just, another one of those guys who like to brag about something that isn't true. I've had so many people say, "Yeah, I'm the owner of the original glove." I've heard it before. So I thought he was just another one of those guys. I'm like, "Oh, hey, that's cool. And but it turns out it was legit. Mike had sold the glove to him, and I didn't know. Mike never said a word to me about selling the glove, and so that came as a surprise. Anyway, so Kurt and I just kind of formed an online friendship slash relationship. Just acquaintance, whatever you want to call it. And he commissioned, because this was the armature. It didn't have like a good quality leather glove with it. And so he asked me to make one for it. And so I did. I also, excuse me, I supplied him with the ringlets that he wound up just hot gluing in it. That's not a problem. That's not going to ruin anything. It's easily removable. But, I supplied him with the ringlets, and I also helped him, figure out, what's the proper shape for them, and where to position them. It's kind of easy to figure out where to position them, because there's an indication on the inside of where the ringlet was. So that didn't involve too much of my involvement or my assistance. But yeah, no, it's yeah, I've probably had more access to the original glove than anyone else, other than those who have owned it, I would say. And I wish I were the owner. I'm not gonna lie. I wish I owned that bad boy, but it's way beyond my financial means. And I'm sure he'd sell it to me, because, I mean, crying out loud, he tried auctioning it off. So he's interested in, having it go to a new owner for the right price. But there's no way in a million years I could offer him the right price. So, I mean, it's weird to think that I had that opportunity, that most never had or will ever get. And I'd like to go see it again. I mean, thankfully, he's extended the invitation to me. He said I can come up at pretty much any time and go see it. But, it's hard for me to get away. My wife's disabled, and so it's kind of hard to just up and go. Not saying I never will. I mean, I'm sure I'll see it again sometime. But heck, maybe I'll go to Monsterpalooza one of these days, and maybe Kurt will just magically show up with it. Hey! If Kurt's watching this, hint, hint. We could just mail it to me. That'd be an easy way to let me see it again as I disappear. Where'd Mark go? He's gone now. I'm sure Kurt's not watching this. I mean, Kurt's too busy of a guy to just be watching live streams. He's a pilot, and so he's always on the go, and his life has a lot more action than mine does. Okay. Last one. I mean, I'm sure if the opportunity presented itself, Kurt would like me to. I think he may have said it before that he did say that he would love for me to be the owner of it. I mean, crying out loud, I would love to be of any prop in the world. That would be the one thing that I. Well, he's not home. No, he may be. But I get what you're saying. Wink, wink. No, but Kurt's a good guy. He's got an amazing collection. I'm glad he isn't the kind of person that just buys a prop and then just makes it disappear, never to be seen again. He's at least been charitable with it and allowed people to go see it at the Museum of Pop Culture. It's not there anymore. It's back in his house. But, he had it out on display for people to see. And yeah, that's why I'm glad it didn't sell at the auction, because I was afraid of it going to, some random no-name collector that just has a lot of money, but they're not associated with the fandom in any way, and so I'd be afraid of it just disappearing again, never to see the light of day. But at least currently it's in the hands of somebody who has been willing to share it with the community. Who else would you want to own it? Robert? Or yourself? I'm sure you'd love to own it. It'd be a lot of pressure. Yeah. Yeah, I don't blame you. I would love to own it too. It's a lot of pressure to own that thing, though. I'm sure it's like the fandom is like treat it nicely. If you want my truth, I would not want Robert to own it. That's my honest opinion. And you're like, why? Well, Robert's not a prop guy. You know, he's an actor. I mean, he told me wrong information about a photo of himself. And it's like he doesn't appreciate props like collectors do. You know, it's like there's so many things that it's like I presented a picture of himself from Nightmare 1. You know, it's him with the Nightmare 1 makeup, the Nightmare 1 sweater with the no stripes. It's got the original glove. He's in the chair with next to Lou Carlucci, who only worked on the first and the seventh films. But I showed that to Robert, and he says, "Oh, this is from part 3." And I'm like, "No, this is from part 1." And he says, "No, this is part 3 because part 1 didn't have a sweater this tattered." Well, it was clearly part 1. And for me to, in my brain, I was just having alarms going off like, oh my gosh. If he thinks this is from part 3, what else is he wrong about? You know, what other things does he have bad memory about or just incorrect remembrance? And because he's a storyteller, he loves to tell stories. And after that experience, I came to the conclusion to take everything that Robert says with a grain of salt. At least when he's talking about things from the original movies, like, you know, from decades ago. Because he clearly doesn't remember things clearly. And it just tells me that he wouldn't appreciate the prop like a collector would, you know. That's my opinion, is because he's not a prop guy. It's not in his interest to own the glove, you know, because he claims to have a glove. Because before it was just, you know, we know that the first movie only had one hero glove, but he told the story that, you know, every film had 2 to 3 hero gloves. We know that's not true. The first and second films only had one hero glove, and he claims that his agent has it. We've never seen it. You know, he's never shown it. You know, and that's one reason why I would not want him to own the original glove, is because, one, we'd never see it again. And 2, I don't think he would appreciate it like a true collector would. So I'm glad it's where it's at. So yeah, that's my spiel. All right. Well, I think I'm at a pretty good stopping point for right now. Because right now it's pretty much assembly. Except I don't have a back plate. I do need to get a back plate made, but that is something that I do not want to put on camera. Because I don't want to show how I make my back plates. You know, specifically the weathering process. That is something I'd like to keep close to the chest. So anyway, I'm gonna just stop the live stream for now, and then I'll probably turn it back on once I have a back plate. So anyway, thanks for keeping me company. So let's see, don't do a blade break when you, okay, I won't. So, okay. All right, well, until then, I got to go get some dinner and take care of my pups and feed the wife, you know, all that fun stuff. So, thanks for keeping me company. Talk to you later.